Again, strong evidence from both sides. And what we heard at the very end was this Valentine's Day card produced by the defence. Why do you think they saved it to the very end?
I suppose because they knew it would get him quite emotional. It just shows, the relationship that they had presumably was quite strong, despite allegations of arguments and sort of these text messages between them.
And yet another very tough day from the prosecution. Gerry Nell saying yet again that he should take blame for the killing, and asking Oscar Pistorius, is it his fault or is it the state's fault? Why do you think he was trying to get him to differentiate there?
I think because Pistorius, throughout his cross-examination, has been evading Nell's question as to, who should take responsibility. Nell's accused him of being a self-centered, arrogant person who refuses to take responsibility for anything. And I think by forcing him to admit, that, he actually did pull the trigger would be to say that, well, yes, he did kill Reeva.
Dr. Thompson, let's bring you into this debate now. I mean, it's been an extraordinary 7 days for us to watch. Indeed, I can't say it would be extraordinary for Oscar Pistorius, and he has been so emotional. What do you make of that?
First of all, I don't know him, and I haven't interviewed him, so it's just going off the movie, shall we say.
We all are.
Indeed. But remember, you can do a bad thing and then be traumatized about it. You could do it by accident, when someone driving a car hits a child or something, or you could do it in anger and then regret your anger. So in a sense, the emotion doesn't actually tell us exactly why he's emotional. We've learnt he's emotional, but it's ambiguous, it's neutral.
And at one point, towards the end, I think it was actually yesterday, we saw the prosecution start to get very frustrated with his displays of emotion. Let's have a quick look at this.
Why are you getting emotional now? Is it about what happened, or is it about the questions and your frustration in answering them? Because now we dealt with nothing but your version. Why are you getting emotional?
It's emotional memories for me.
No, it's not. You're getting frustrated because your version is improbable and you're getting emotional.
What do you think about that? Which is more likely, in your opinion, as a bystander?
I think that these got known as the tear breaks. And I think it's interesting because the initial interpretation when you hear any human being in agony is to feel sorrow. And it's only after quite a long sequence that I think the prosecutor can bring us round to his side and say, this is once too often, all right? So I think this is, good prosecution behavior, and I think, need to have been in the court all that time. Probably by then I'd say, yes, this is one tear break too often.
Too often. The prosecution also very clear, or very keen to push the fact that sometimes Oscar Pistorius has a very sharp memory of what happened that night. In other times, he's very forgetful. Now, could that be true, do you think, or could that be more inconsistencies?
Not so much. It's interesting. If a lot of one's work in psychology is interviewing people who have a reason to lie, and there's a couple of things that show up. One is lying takes longer. The way you go about giving your lie is more elaborate because you have to think all the while. Where is this leading? Whereas someone who's just telling says, this is what happened, all right? So I think the prosecutor has done very well in saying, how come some things you remember perfectly and others it's don't know, not sure? So that's good forensic skills. Normally, I must say, people who are traumatized have very good memory. And that's the problem with trauma. You remember stuff you don't want to remember.
Fascinating stuff. I mean, Heather, let's bring you back in now. I know that one of the moments that you have found very interesting is when Oscar Pistorius became very agitated, when Gerry Nell yet again demanded that he have a look at some of these pretty gruesome forensic pictures of Reeva Steenkamp's body. Let's have a look at this.
I've taken responsibility, but I will not look at a picture where I'm tormented by what I saw and felt that night. As I picked Reeva up, my fingers touched her head. I remember. I don't have to look at a picture. I was there.
And I mean, in terms of a level of emotion, he really managed to lose that then, didn't he, Heather?
Definitely. And I suppose just looking at that picture would have brought back the same memories that came when, inadvertently the court was shown a picture of Reeva's body earlier in the court proceedings. Just that stark reminder of this is what I did, whether he did it, he intended to do it or it was an accident. Either way, it would have just taken him back to that terrible evening when his life changed forever.
Let's also just remind our viewers of the very fierce cross-examination that he's been under for 7 days now, because it's been pretty extraordinary. Let's have a look at this.
You killed a person, that's what you did, isn't it?
I made a mistake, my lady.
You killed Riva Steenkamp, that's what you did.
I made a mistake, my lady.
You're repeating it 3 times. What was your mistake?
My mistake is that I took Riva's life, my lady.
You killed her, you shot and killed her. Won't you take responsibility for that?
I did, my lady.
Now say it then. Say yes. I shot and killed Riva Steenkamp.
I did, my lady.
And 7 days of that.
Yes, but it's a brilliant intervention. As a prosecutor, that was the best thing he ever did.
Why?
And it was very quick. Because what the defendant was doing was giving the detached account, which many perpetrators do. They say, this happened, then that happened, then the knife went in, the gun went off. There's no responsibility for it, all right? It's the excuse we all make. Well, an incident happened. And here he has nailed someone who's already said, yes, I shot her. And what's being debated is why and, you know, the legal technicalities, really. But that was a brilliant, it's almost a psychological therapeutic intervention, which is what you'd say to someone who says, I have a drinking problem. And you say, no, you are drinking too much.
And it happened at the very beginning as well, which was fascinating, wasn't it? So Heather, what does all this mean? Because we've still got more days to go. Do you think the judge has made up her mind already? What do you think?
The judge is inscrutable, you know. She has been quite sympathetic towards Pistorius at times, you know, checking, are you tired, are you okay? But I think it's mainly out of interest of justice in terms of, you know, we can't have the witness, you know, of colour in order to, you know, for justice to happen. So I don't know if she's made a decision. It's hard to tell.
James, briefly, what do you think?
I think she's a bright cookie, basically. And when the prosecutor says, why did she not reply to your questions from behind the closed door, and there wasn't a good answer, I saw her making a note. I think she already knows what the answer is, but I agree, this justice has to be just, and everyone's got to be given a chance.